Welcome to the TCAT 10-Minute Take. It is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don, the man, the myth, the legend, Chambers. And today we are talking about the Angelina Jolie movie dropping on HBO Max, For Those Who Wish Me Dead. But before we get started, make sure you click that subscribe button and you click that bell to get all the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop. And as always, I will let Mr. Chambers go first and go.
Okay, For Those Who Wish Me Dead, directed by Taylor Sheridan, starring Angelina Jolie, also John Bernthal is in there. There's also a cameo by Tyler Perry. Thought that was fascinating.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's just like, I was like, okay. But for this movie, I think the most important thing about this was, for me watching this, I was mainly, I guess my posture, my demeanor was mainly this here. Yeah, I had my phone with me through like a good 3/4 of this movie. I was checking sports. I was going through like my Twitter, Instagram. I checked my email several times. I answered email while this movie was going. When I talk about being bored in movies, this movie, perfect example. First of all, this title, For Those Who Wish Me Dead, what the hell is... I'm not saying a title of a movie has to have a direct linear connection to the movie, but sometimes, even in a metaphorical sense, it has a meaning. For those who I'm like, was it supposed to be like, was this some deep meaning for this dumb movie? I don't know. Now, I know it's based off a book. I'm sure the book is by far better, because this movie certainly wasn't any good. I mean, you had your stereotypical character of the hero, which is supposed to be Jolie, who we see through flashbacks, of course, in the course of her job, makes a mistake that costs people lives. And so for her to get back into the job, she has self-doubt, and she has very self-harming behavior because she still blames herself for the loss of these people's lives. All nonsense you've seen 80 billion times before in other movies, except this one wasn't anywhere as interesting. First of all, I still don't buy Angelina Jolie as a fire jumper, or they're called, or a woman who fights fires, because she still looks like she weighs 110 pounds. And in the scenes where she's even running, I'm like, is that her running? Because she looks like she's about to fall down any second now. There's even a scene where she gets struck by lightning. Lightning.
Twice.
And gets up and walks away from that shit. So I'm like, what am I looking at here? Okay, so the basic gist is there's a dude who's a forensic accountant. He's working with the DA. Obviously, he's working on something really big that exposes a lot of people. We don't know the details because they never say. The DA gets killed. The guy finds out. He's like, oh, I got to get my kid. We got to run. Coming after me. He gets killed, passes information to the kid. Kid runs off into the forest. Meets up with Angelina Jolie and a couple other people. The bad guys chase the kid, kill a couple people. They start a fire. Angelina Jolie kind of gets roped into this. She doesn't actually do any fire stuff, any fire saving this, anything. She just sort of is there and happens to kill one of the guys, and the end.
Where would you put it on our scale?
I honestly, I wouldn't even waste bandwidth on this. If you could Redbox it, hey, how much is Redbox?
$1.25 if you get a regular disc, $2 if it's a Blu-ray.
Get the regular disc, $1.25. Yeah, so that way you're not wasting your bandwidth. You have it on the disc. You can pop it in, maybe play bits of it when you're seriously bored. Like if you're vacuuming, just let it play in the background. It'll do fine. The only thing in this movie, and I mean literally the only thing that perked me to because it was somewhat different to see, was John Bernthal's character is married to this black lady, but she's like a chocolate lady. So I was like, oh, they didn't like go the light skin route, which they normally do in the movies. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And she could handle a gun too. So I was like, all right. I was like, all right, girl, good for you.
Good for you.
And I'm like, but that was it. And she survived. So I'm like, oh, okay, girl. All right. That's it. There is nothing, I mean, nothing in this movie that I thought was like, wow, or dangerous, actiony, or interesting, or that's a twist. Nothing. I mean, nothing.
Right. Well, okay. I didn't hate it. Like,
okay.
I'm gonna put that.
I hated this movie.
I didn't hate it. I do feel like Angelina Jolie is not believable in certain situations. I believe her as an evil, mystical fairy in the wilderness.
There we go.
I believe her even as some kind of super sexy secret agent spy.
In a comedy sort of a setting.
Or even like Salt. Like I believe her as like a sexy spy. I don't ever really 100% believe her in these blue collar cop jobs. Like
Thank you.
she does very good at playing, self-destructive badass with emotional problems like Girl Interrupted.
Yes.
Or when but like when she's in movies like The Bone Collector or that one, I can't think of the name of it, with Ethan Hawke, and she plays a police detective and he's like a serial killer, which is not a bad movie, not as bad as like better than this. So watch that.
Don't watch this.
But it's just something about her playing these blue collar cop jobs that I don't really buy, especially because I don't think that she would pass the physical exam of the physical challenge of being a smoke jumper. But
honestly, those scenes where she has a backpack and she's running and her arms are just weirdly flailing, I'm like, that poor girl's gonna hurt herself.
Right. But I do like the kid in this movie. Surprisingly, I don't like kid actors usually.
I don't like them at all.
I did not hate this kid. I thought that he did a really good job. This is a tight movie, and sometimes maybe a movie can be too tight, where everything that happens is happening and there's no twists. There's straight A to B to C to D. Like this happens, this happens, this happens. We got the bad guys. We have the kid who's on the run. We have Angelina Jolie to help him, and then they run into the bad guys in the end. Like it's nothing outside of that, except for Tyler Perry's weird ass cameo, like you said. Maybe that was before we started recording, but he's in this movie for 2 seconds about the shady organization or group that's the bad guys, but they don't ever get into what that's about. It's only about this kid's journey from A to B to C, from getting this information, on the run with this information, getting rid of this information. Like that's it. That's the entire movie.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to see anything outside of that. So the villains are, if they weren't such good actors, I mean, Littlefinger is a good villain always.
And Beast from X-Men. I was like, okay.
And so Nicholas Hoult, and Aidan Gillen is just like they're good bad guys, but you have no sense of what or why or how or who or for whomst what
for whomst
these things are, why they're so brutally murderous. across the Montana wilderness and so willing to just burn it all down for to literal scorched earth over this information, this MacGuffin of information that we have no idea what the gravity of the information is. And so that makes a movie that you don't get invested in because Reasons is not enough reasons.
Yeah. I mean, Reasons is a good song, but it's not enough in this movie.
Not enough reasons.
Not enough reasons.
And then I was really kind of annoyed because, like you said, the John Bernthal and the lady who played his wife, who I can't think of what her name is. I'm getting really senile in my old age with these names and titles and things. But like, they're supposed to be the kid's aunt and uncle. And yet he doesn't ever really, you don't get a sense of any kind of relationship with them, even at the end at all. They could have been strangers for all it mattered. Like it didn't matter. And I know that the movie is a deviation from the story of the book quite a bit. So that is the liberties that happen when there's a lot of cooks in kitchens and movies are made by committee and things happen. And so I don't want to take away from anybody reading the book because I've seen the book had like phenomenal reviews. So if you want to read that book, go ahead and read that book. But
I don't watch the movie.
Money. I know it's in theaters and also on HBO Max. If you have HBO Max and you just ran out of stuff to watch, it's not the worst thing you could watch.
It's close.
But I wouldn't spend no money on this. I would go look up that other movie with Angelina Jolie and Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like a police officer and she's chasing after a serial killer and he's one of the victims who got away and they get involved and then twists happen and turns happen and the serial killer is really interesting because he's like one of those serial killers that kills somebody and then like takes their life over because he's one of those generic looking white men that can sort of person hop. Yeah, so he can like take the life and then he's like, what do they call him? Like a hermit crab serial killer. So he kills and takes their life and then lives their life for a little while and then kills the next person and takes their life. I think Paul Dano plays him when he's younger. Man, that movie is great. I should go watch that later today.
We should go watch that.
This movie, not so much. But I gotta say, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Like, I was expecting it to be way worse. It was just boring, which is bad enough. But it wasn't actively bad.
Oh, no. I mean, it's not technically or
and fast. It moved fast. Like, it's a quick watch. And it's competent. The fire is, like, the CGI and the real fire, and that's all great. The special effects are really good. But it's just real by the numbers, this one. Like, it doesn't venture in any new territory. It doesn't show us anything new. It doesn't do anything new. It doesn't hit any emotional beats that you really care about that much. So if you got some time to actually waste,
there you go.
You can waste this.
Like,
if you're doing laundry at the laundromat and it's on,
you could waste a couple minutes and glance at it, sure.
Right, or if you're back in the gym and you're on the treadmill and it's on.
Oh, this will help the treadmill time go by.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's part of our scale. It's worth the treadmill at the gym watch, for sure, if you're back in the gym.
But
don't go to the gym to watch this. Don't risk your life.
Don't do that. That's a waste of gas, number one. No.
But if you're there and they got HBO Max because it's a fancy gym, like you know, the fancy ones, and they have it on because that's how they got people to come back to the gym because of HBO.
Don't ask to put it on, but if it happens to be on, then there
don't
you go.
Ask for it.
Don't
but if
ask
it's
for
on
it.
already.
No.
You can even be like 15 minutes in, and you could probably be like 30 minutes in.
You could be up till the damn near very end, and you really have not.
You feel like you've watched this entire movie.
Yeah, you really haven't missed any spectacular plot points you needed to know. No. But if you happen to be at the gym, and if you want something engaging while you're on the treadmill, boom, this podcast is right here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified, or pull it up while you got your phone and you put it on the treadmill you can watch. You can pull up our website. We've got all the links to our podcast, be it on YouTube or through iTunes or Hipcast, as well as the reading and Good Morning Antioch. All of them right there at your fingertips. So again, hit that subscribe, hit that bell, the notifications, and make sure you bookmark tcatnetwork.com.
Taking Lives. That's what it's called.
And everybody, go watch Taking Lives instead of this. Way better. Way better. Trust me. Oh, yeah. Till next time. See ya.